Hello everyone, welcome back to the United Stand. It's Adam Talks. It's a bit earlier today, 2 p.m. We've got a lot to get through. The race for the Manchester United ownership. Who is winning that? I'm going to bring you right up to date with a football finance expert's opinion on that. And that deal is going to get done in time before the January transfer window. God, I'm going way back here. The summer transfer window, the big one, the one that we all want. We all want United to be ready and involved in, and we need investment in that. This deal is apparently now going to be done before that day. That's the biggest news. We're going to go full on detail on that. I'm joined by Nuruddin today. Nuruddin, cheers for coming on again. We've got a lot to get through. I'm sorry that we have to always have you on this show after a defeat. It seems to be the way every single time. It wasn't a good day at weekend. I've seen a lot. I'm going to talk about a lot. I want to get your opinion on what happened in the crowd as well at weekend, because it does involve the ownership, it involves opinions on the players, even the manager at weekend. That's how bad it was, and that's how much of a horrible vibe it was around Manchester United fans at weekend. I'm guessing it was the same at home as well, because this is the first time I've had to talk about it with anyone who was watching it on TV, because as always, mate, you go into hiding, don't you? But how are you doing, bud? You okay?
I'm doing good. In terms of, I've tempered my expectations. To be fair, I didn't expect Man United to get top 4 this season, but then I didn't expect Liverpool to collapse the way they did throughout most of the season, and then Chelsea to collapse as well. So we'll see, but big 3, 4, 5 finals basically. Man United got to play 5 finals.
Yes, I mean...
And at the moment, we can't buy a goal. Adam,
no.
Can you fancy getting on the pitch, mate, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely do a job in goal anyway, let's say that. We may touch on the David De Gea situation as well, a little bit. We'll throw a few names out there, we'll get your opinions on it. Guys, get involved, it is the interactive show, so get your questions in. And obviously, I want to get down to the nitty-gritty. I want to talk about what I seen in the crowd at weekend at West Ham. But first of all, we'll get into the main headlines, which we always report on here on the United Stand. It is talking, the Express, Daily Express have been talking and interviewed a football finance expert. Dr. Dan Plumley has been talking about the breakdown of this deal with the Glazers and how everything has gone. It's when you listen, and we've spoken to a few people on the United Stand, if you listen to the Twitter Spaces, we have Ben Jacob on there as well, and he talks in it in a different light. We just see things. We see things in the news and in the media, and we start getting downbeat, thinking the Glazers are taking us for a ride again. But these guys talk in a different tone. They talk differently. The big thing from this, Nuruddin, is that he's making the point that this process, it looks like it's on track, which is big news for United fans, because one way or the other, whether we like the new owner coming in or whoever it is, it will be done before that window opens in the summer, according to the experts. Is that, out of everything, we'll talk about who we want and where we're at with the current bid, is that important, first of all, that this deal gets done? Super chat, sorry, quickly, I'm just going to bring that up right now. I'm going to try and get them done as quickly as I can today. Playing Uno with Bruno. What a fantastic YouTube name that is. Good. Do you ever find yourself falling out of love with the club when none of the players are showing passion? Keep up the good work, Adam. Oh, I have a love-hate affair with this football club. Cheers for that super chat playing, but I'm sure you do as well. But to touch on that and then touch on like the importance of, like I just said then, Nuruddin, they're actually giving any ownership model time to really back Ten Hag in the summer.
I think that is vital, and that's what we're waiting for. I mean, I'm the type of person that would said, I'll take a relegation to get rid of the Glazers. I'll take another, you know how much I hate Europa League. I'll take another Europa League to get rid of the Glazers. You've always
banged on about the Europa League and wanting to be out of it.
Exactly. So, because you know what it is, I'm a spoilt brat, like we're talking about. I'm a spoilt brat. Fergie, Champions League nights, hers at the back end, it's down at the Stretford end. You know what I mean? That is what I've been brought up on. So, to me, this process, going through, and we get a settlement, full sale, Manchester United, I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm going to do that day, Adam. If that day was to come, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And touching on love and hate, well, I've never really genuinely backed the club. I supported the manager, the players, but I've never been part of the Glazer because people knew. I was around people who knew from 2005 onwards, before they even, fully when they took over. People don't remember that. About 15,000 United fans left. People don't speak now. Families don't speak. You know what I mean? Friends don't speak. because they decided to leave, not to go to the games. So in terms of me being in love with having a love and hate, no, I love the players, majority of them, throughout the years, and I support and I go to the stadium. But I've never really loved the club. Before the Glazers, I loved the club. You don't understand. I used to be in that mega store, woolly hats, you know what I mean, gloves, anything with, you know what I mean, old school sharp, anything. I used to want to love to save my money to get that shirt. I've not been in that store. So in terms of like, no, I love the players that played for us. I loved the managers, the teams, but I've never loved the Glazer ownership or anything to do with the Glazers. So if it's going to happen, if these financial experts are saying what they're saying, because aspect of it is a lot of it clickbaitery in terms of the way the journalists report it, and not a lot of football journalists are also financial experts. So for me, if it's going to happen, I think that would be the greatest time for any Manchester United fan. We could celebrate that like it's a trophy. Yeah. I would celebrate that like it's a trophy.
You'll be out there in Old Trafford on the front there next to Sir Matt in between the Trinity statue, singing and shouting Nuruddin. I can feel you downbeat. I can feel you downbeatness right now in your voice, man. I really can. I'll try to do my best to bring you around. But it's followed in the chat. You're not the only one. The people are feeling you, Nuruddin. Acid23 with a super chat says, Adam, with how it's being run, we need too much work to ever challenge for a title. A full rebuild isn't viable financially, and we don't have time. I can totally understand people's opinions and feeling this way. It's like we're built up, we're thinking we're turning a corner, and then it sort of always comes back and just goes, whoa, 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 steady on, get back in your lane. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. You are where you should be. And I said this the other day. But I do want to read out. I do want to read out actually what was said by this so-called financial expert, Mr. Dan Plumley. I'm just going to read it to you and see what you think of it, Nuruddin. So, basically breaking down first of all that this is going to get done on time. I think that's always been the marker for this one before the summer. That's been key before the summer, and it has to be done before the transfer comes in. You have to look at that in context of the November deadline in the first instance. Plumley explains it's not unusual for these things to go that long, and actually you will probably argue when you've got a 5 or 6 billion takeover, which he goes on to say is a world record football or sports franchise, which is key in all of this. You have to do your background check, you have to do your background checks all the way around, do everything possible to make sure that this deal is viable and is secure from all sides. That's where he's getting at with everything that he's saying here. It's like, this is what they expected in the financial world. But key to this, Nuruddin, as well, at the top of this, and I've not read this out, and this is why the thumbnail is what it is as well. From his experience and people he has spoken to, he sees the Qatari bid as the favourable one to the Glazers. The simplicity of the financing of the deal from that side is how that world is looking at it. The financial world see the Qatari bid, because it is just one stream of money coming in. It's not financed anywhere else. This is the favourite for Manchester United. And that's going to be music to a lot of United fans' ears. When I tell you that, what's your feeling listening to that? You know what, is that anything you've not heard before? Yeah,
well, my feeling, I mean, in terms of, it makes sense. Like, let's say you're buying a house, innit? Like, if somebody can give you the money, cash, you know what I mean? If somebody can give you the whole of the money and what you want, it's a cleaner, isn't it? So everybody's going to be looking at the cleaner sale where money's in your pocket and then you can go away. Like, a lot of people are buying the houses, you know, some people are selling houses because it is, you know, for cash, you know what I mean? Other than them getting a mortgage and you know. So that makes a lot of sense, and it would be for Manchester United as well. Like, I'm the type that would be like, oh, I don't want Qatari or whatever influence. I don't want Man United to be sport washing. But the horse is bolted. The horse is bolted, mate. I mean, you had that clown journalist, I forgot his name, some of the in the comments will know, but he basically was praising Man City and how well Man City are doing, and then he, in the next week, he wrote an article talking about Manchester United. It's like, say, if the Qatar was to get hold of Man United, it'll be the end of the world. It'll be at the end of football. So it's like the British media can't make their minds up in terms of their high morale, you know, brigade. That's what I call them, high morale brigade. But to me, I think it's best for everybody. At the end of the day, the horse is bolted. You see Newcastle, you see Man City, you see football is now major wealth, and not even that, Adam. It's the problems that what the Glazers have caused. Manchester United need in the next 10 years a $3 billion investment in terms of the infrastructure,
Minimum.
players. That's minimum.
Minimum, mate,
So
yeah.
in the next what, 10 years to 8 years, that's what Manchester United need. So who's going to come up with that? Is that all? We cannot be maxed out in terms of debt and interest, mate. Those days are done. The Glazers have done that for 17 years. They've done that for 17 years. So
Actually, there's a good super chat here that leads right into what you're saying. I'll let you carry on with that in a minute. But Paul Woolley says in the super chat, the good thing with the Qatar, the Qatar bid is debt gone, stadium done, players out and players in. Qatar for me, I'm 48 now. We need this owner here, not Radcliffe. For me, sorry, who disagrees? I mean, I'll put it straight to you, Nuruddin, in terms of what he said there. Was there anything that you wasn't talking about just then? I mean,
100%. Everything
that there is a man who, in his United fan lifetime now, he's thinking, I'm not going to see this club successful again. That's how people look at it, isn't it?
It's true. It's true. And then you look at the generations. Like I always tell some people, I tell a story, a couple of my friends are bribing their children. Because you know what Man City do when they win a league? They take it around primary schools and high schools, and that's what they're doing. So at the end of the day, we have to be challenging for a Champions League, for a league title again. And the only way, for me, I see that is for Qatar, because most of it, we want a world where Manchester United fans can own the club. That's not viable. That's not possible. Or you want a local guy who's self-sufficient, who's got the money, right, and who's got the investment that Manchester United need without any debt or anything else. That's who you would want. But Radcliffe is a rat, and he's not that.
Yeah, that's it. There is a zombie with another super chat. Says, until I see the news on Sky Sports News, I'm not getting my hopes up. We are constantly let down by the Glazers, whether it's in signings or sale news. Gifts by Paul Woolley. Get in there, people, and get your free memberships from him. 5 of them have just been put up there. Cheers for that, Paul. Much appreciated. It's funny how there's NDAs and no sale yet. So Jim's proposal was put out. There may be the Glazers testing the water before deciding to sell 100% sell. Deciding to sell or 100% sell. That's from Lasso 99, a member 13 months. Cheers for that, mate. But don't forget, wipe up them memberships, people. Thanks to Paul. Brilliant stuff, mate. I want to go back to that other super chat there, though. It's like, as a fan base, you're looking in, you're hoping that the club actually try and push in the right direction and what's best for the fans. But at the end of the day, and Dan Plumley says this in his article, he just says, it's all about the money. At the end of the day, we're talking, and in our world, this looks viable, this looks the favourite, this is where all the odds on where the money's going to go. But ultimately, like you said, back in the old days, you could get gazumped when you're buying a property, mate. If someone else comes in, I know you can't do it now, but if someone else comes in and says, there you go, bang, there's more money. And like you said, I talked about this the other week. That deadline wasn't for investors. That deadline was for out and out ownership or majority ownership bids. So we still don't know if investment is the best option for the Glazers. So again, the fact that Dan Plumley has said this deal is going to get done one way or the other before the window opens, I think the clock is ticking now, and I think we're getting closer and closer to the outcome. I think that's the only good thing I'm taking out of this, because I still don't believe anything that's been said. You can take it with a pinch of salt from me, and guys, your opinions are your opinions. You may look at this and go, it's creditable or not, but I look at it and go, right, at least I know there's a timeline and it is getting closer, because anyone who's anyone, even if it's the Glazers, they're going to want something in place before, because if they're thinking of staying, they want to make a plan going into the summer, don't they?
Well, you would like to think so, Adam. Come on, United fans. You would like to think so. Sacking a manager, they take their time. Hiring a manager, putting people like,
giving the manager plenty of time.
Exactly. So in terms of like signing somebody, they literally suck the life out of every transfer. We don't hardly ever sell players. I'm trying to think about players that we sold and we made money on. Dan James, who wanted to get out of here, and Smalling. I don't remember anybody else really. I mean, somebody might let me know in the car. So the way the Glazers do, it's about them. It's about them. Manchester United is not run like a football club. Manchester United is run like a spreadsheet. That's why we can never sell any players. And we just want this process to end, right? To end for them going. To me, full sale, them ever, nothing. There you go. You've rinsed Manchester United. You've took out whatever. You've become multi-millionaires out of the way you treated Manchester United without ever giving anything back to the fan base or even caring about the football club. You might get 5 or 6 billion reportedly. Just ride out into the sunset. Like, to me, I'm that much. I'm not even begrudging. Just ride out into the sunset. Just please, just leave the club alone. That's it. Don't be involved in it. Jim, the Radcliffe, if you can't afford it, do not facilitate Glazers staying, Joe or Avram staying. We do not want that. We want a clean break. Just a fresh, brand new start for everybody. Can you imagine? Just a fresh start. Get that stadium sorted, build another one, get the women's and the youth team sorted. And big up, by the way, big up to the women. Good luck in the FA Cup this Sunday. Good luck against Chelsea.
Well, I've just paused the live feed page there just to see where people are at, because it is flying up. We've got a really good crowd, well over 7,000 watching us live right now. I'm just going to read down this list here because I've just paused it because it's pretty much all on the ownership. Are you ready for this? Okay. Radcliffe out, but a rat instead of Rad in front of Cliff. So Ratcliffe, your favourite line there, Nuruddin. Glazers are evil, Qatar in. Radcliffe is a delusional man. Rats and Glazers out. I'm starting to believe the clubs only get Sir Jim to drive the price up. We want our club back. We need to rebuild within Manchester, also not just the stadium, from the board to the medical team, etc., etc. Glazers out, 100% sale. That pretty much on a pause there and a full line of, and I'm going to put it to actually with a poll right now. Guys, is this a simple one for you? 2 options. Will we have new owners in before the summer transfer window? Yes or no? That poll will be coming up in the live chat very shortly. I just want to gauge the confidence of the audience right now and where they're at, because from that line of comments right there from people, no one is confident, and it's very clear what everyone wants. Very, very clear. Super chat in there from Jake says, could the Glazers sell to Jim to piss fans off? Well, the Glazers don't care about fans, so the Glazers can do whatever they want.
Exactly.
In their eyes, they can. That's been the problem all along, hasn't it, Nuruddin?
They don't care that they live over there. I mean, you look at it, in 17-year ownership, they've spoke to certain Man United fans for half an hour on a Zoom call, and that was after the Super League debacle. So in 17, 18-year ownership, they've spoken to the Manchester United fans directly, this is Joe, for 30 minutes on a Zoom call. That's all they've done. So they don't care what we think. They don't care how we feel, because they're just thick-skinned vultures, parasites. That's what they are. They're just all about the money. So I hope the Qataris give them what they want and they just ride out into the sunset, and we have a fresh, brand new start for Manchester United and something to look forward to. Honestly, some of these defeats would not have hurt the way they hurt. It's because the Glazers are there. And the idea of anything getting in the long term, getting better, or getting Man United challenging, going back to where we belonged, challenging for league titles sustainably season after season, and then going to the Champions League and actually being in a shout or winning it. When was the last time Manchester United were ever favourites or one of the favourites? You know, you looked at the bookies, that would come up one thing. You look at the bookies and say, oh, who's Champions League favourites this season? When was the last time we were ever involved in that? So for me, it's just like, whatever happens, we want them gone. Finally, and we were at protest, and we saw it. Like, the fans were desperate to get rid of them. So I personally, the defeats or whatever would not have hurt so much if the club's together. I just want the fan base and the club to come together. I think we've got the right manager, even though he makes some critical mistakes at times. Bloody Bruno, left wing.
We'll touch on that towards the back end of the show.
But in terms of, I think we've got the right manager. I think we've got certain players, certain characters in the team. I think we're going to need a lot more players. And there is a bit of a connection. There is a bit, I know that it's been lost in the last couple of games, but there is the connection we've had with the team and the manager who understands and gets it. And for me, in terms of helping him, I just point people to the embargo section before the Brighton game. He literally came out scathing, saying that this thing, but the way he's going, he said he needs investment. He doesn't know how much money he's got to spend. And to be fair, Adam, we're always going to play catch up, because usually at the end of February, at the beginning of March, it's where agents and clubs start talking about certain players. It's where you got your list, and then you make contacts with the intermediaries of certain players if they're interested in coming to Manchester United. So we are way behind, and we already know from last season. Malacia was the only guy that went on a pre-season tour. Yep. And if we're gonna need whatever 4 or 3 signings. I mean, I think we need 7, but 4 or let's say at least 4 signings to go on a pre-season.
Well, that's it. I mean, the pre-season starts, so the team will be flying out, I think, on the 18th of July to the States. So basically, we're giving Ten Hag and the Manchester United team, whoever it may be, I mean, this is where the problem lies for me, because if they do want to bring in a full new structure, they have to put that all in place. And then that comment and that phrase, business as usual at United, no matter who the ownership is, I just don't see how that works when you're changing everything. So for me, I do feel like I feel like they know what's happening. Like something must be close for them to be like this, because obviously the FA Cup final is in June, for God's sake. I mean, I've never known an FA Cup final to be in June. It's been a weird season as it is. We've got less time. Like you said, I was on the tour last summer. I thought we was going to see Martinez. I thought we might have seen Christian Eriksen go out there. Them signings were made while Ten Hag was out there dealing with coming to terms of what Manchester United is. And I seen that man change from the timid, like, oh my God, what the hell is this in Thailand press conference, to the man he is now, who fully understands and has got full charge and got a grip at this club straight away. Let's not forget, we'll talk about his issues in the pitch, certain substitutes, but that's probably because of what we're talking about now. He's not been back. Not been 6 weeks isn't long enough for Ten Hag to get everything in my opinion. And the way this club work, you said it yourself, Nuruddin, time, takes too long, and we're into the first day of the season. I
mean, let's not get him off the hook. And he's talking about structure. Richard Arnold is on record saying, oh, we like the speculation, the transfer speculation, because it drives our social media interactions. So that's what I'm saying to you. Everything is about business. You've already got almost 1 billion fans around the world. You've already got about 1 billion interactions. So just give them the news and interact with them. The biggest thing what worries me as well, and it happened to Liverpool, I think it was due to fatigue why Liverpool had a bad start to the season. Yeah. And we've played 3 days, like since September, I think. It's the first time we've had almost a week or 4 or 5 days before a game. So to me, what I'm worried about is the fatigue on the players next season. And so if we need at least 4 or 5 players to come and freshen up to go into that first starting lineup, mate. Yep. That's what we're going to need. 100%.
A couple of super chats just to read out. Stan and Son Adventures says, to me, the sale is like our transfer window, slow and disappointing. For me, Qatar in. Glazers have run the club as a business model, not for the fans. Another super chat in for Paul. I like Paul's thinking here. Adam, if I had 10 billion, I'd pay 6 for the club, give 3.5 billion to the club, live on the rest, also sort out a box for the United stand team.
There you go.
Top man, Paul. Bang on the money there. There is a zombie also in for another super chat. Cheers for that. If we get Qatar, I can see us dominate again. Look at Brighton. They have run like a proper football club, and their youth academy is insane. Look, with Potter left, brought in De Zerbi. They have a structure. That's all it is. They have a structure. They know what they know how the club is going to run. They know what they need, and they know the expectations.
I mean, it's run by a fan. He loves them, doesn't he? I mean, I think he's invested like something like 400 million or something like that. The owner of Brighton. I mean, they play the same way till the under-16s. They're well-run football club. Of course, they got absolutely trounced by Everton.
Hey, honestly, I looked at that. Do you know what? Just on that quickly, I went. We had 3 games against Brighton this season and scored 1 goal. Everton relegation fodder under Sean Dyche rolls in to the Amex and scores 5. I'm like, there lies the problem. We are going to talk about United striker issues, actually. But do you want to know how the poll's going? Nearly 3,000 votes. Yes or no? Will the summer transfer window have new ownership looking at it or not, basically? Will we have it in before the summer? 58% say yes.
We pray.
We have confidence.
We've got to pray. Keep praying, people. We need to pray. Hope and pray.
We do. I mean, I just want to touch on, before we move into the football side, I was at West Ham. Abana.
I feel sorry for
Abana was left after the game. So from 2 sides, we've got West Ham fans going in on us, as they would, anyone. United are there for the shot, and everyone's taking the shot at the moment. And then we've got United fans fighting United fans in the away end. A banner went up, no to Qatar. The sports washing thing came up. We've got fans fighting with each other, fans being moved away by stewards, banners being ripped, and it wasn't nice to see. And then you've got opposition fans laughing at us from either side. That's what I don't want to see. But you said the club need to be united earlier on in this show,
100%.
Nuruddin, and this is where the Glazers have left us.
That's
the unknown, not knowing what's happening in the summer, where the club is going and moving forward. Are we going to back the best thing that's happened to this club in the last decade, which is Ten Hag? We don't know. And it's just up in the air at the moment. And then added to that, Nuruddin, the dross that we're watching on the pitch at the moment, you can see why the fans are a little agitated.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to me, listen, obviously we believe in freedom of speech and for people to voice their opinion. I don't expect every United fan to be, like I said, I've always had things about sports washing, but you're not going to hear anything in the media about greenwashing and about Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos and how their business practices and how they pollute rivers and how they're fracking. They just won a contract in the US to frack. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that has a direct influence on people. If you live near a fracking area, your water, all sorts of things, you know what I mean? The environment. So for me, that's greenwashing as well. So at the end of the day, everybody's got their own opinions, but it hurts really when you see United fans fighting among each other. But I'm sorry to say, but the toxicity for the past decade, that's what happened. That's why you got so many player FC in our fan base. There's toxicity because this energy and this frustration, it has to go somewhere. And that's directly at the people who run your football club. People don't understand, like, fish always rots from the head. Fish always rots from the head. If the people who own the football club don't have a vision, strategy, have clear objectives about the future of the football club, where the football club is going, that translates. Yeah, Ten Hag has come in and dealt with all sorts of things. And sometimes, honestly, I can be critical in a game, like, obviously, because, and by the way, if you're a football fan and you're not reactionary after a game, and you're not like over the top in your way when we win or lose, then I don't know, you're into the wrong spot. But I look at it and I think, sometimes I take stock and go, look at that thing with Ronaldo, you know, losing like Greenwood, you know what I mean? Like, sort of Maguire. Like, all of the different things he's had to deal with, the Sancho situation, the injuries. The only thing for me, I would say, you know, if I was ever critical of him, I think he didn't understand the squad that he had, the depth and the quality, and he went for everything. And I think we would have been done with having time on a training ground, because we play football. When you're fatigued, mentally or physically, you want to go back to something that helps you. And I think the training ground, the patterns of play, him drilling that team, I think at this moment in time when they're fatigued mentally and physically, they could have fell back on that. And at the moment, all they're falling back on is what previous coaches, previous managers, where everybody's like individual FC and I'm just going to shoot and it's a very
valid point, mate, because you think about it, this week is our first week we've had a full week preparation since September for a game. It's been 2 games a week, and you know yourself, when you're in Europe, you're travelling, how much time is he having on the training ground? Even when he gets it, he's doing late tests. All I hear is him constantly saying, we're just going to do a late test on this player. Is he going to be fit? He said it himself, he's had his full squad to pick from for 1 game this season, and they beat Manchester City. That was that game. He's not had it since. The injuries and everything else and what he's had to deal with Ronaldo and Harry Maguire being the first man to realise the captaincy, and Maguire not being the player that he was made out to be by the club and previous managers. He's had to deal with an awful lot, and he's done well. And I've said it, and I've tried not to go in it. I was frustrated as hell. And you talked about reaction. Oh, mate, I could have ripped someone's head off on Sunday. Going from Brighton to London and having no goals, hardly getting a shot, even threatening the goalkeeper and being beaten by both, and then seeing them teams outperformed by the likes of Everton. I mean, come on. I mean, I looked at it and I went, Southampton this season, with 2 games, we scored 1 goal against them. Forest went and scored 4. They're in the relegation zone, and then the same with Brighton. It's like, how Everton beat Brighton 5-1 is beyond me. But reactional, yes. I said it as it was.
Yeah, no,
I
you
said
have
it
to
as
be.
it was
You have to
right
be,
there,
yeah.
and that's how you have to be. You can't
fake it, mate. You can't pretend like I'm trying to mask it.
You don't.
That's
See, we
what
said
we
it.
are.
It's the eye test, isn't it? You know what you've just watched, and you're like, "What the hell has just happened on that pitch? And why are we so crap?" Because we were good, and then you start thinking about it. You start going, "I know they're tired. There's a pattern of play here where it gets to 60 minutes. If we're not in the game, we're done. There's no way of scoring."
And the mental fragility as well once we concede.
You can't. Yes.
Honestly, on Twitter,
It's like down and done, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm constantly banging on about first goal vital. I've had that for the past 6 years. You know what I mean? And it's weird because some of these players played on the Ollie as well, and they were good at coming back. Remember, we had the best away record on the
comeback record was unreal.
Unreal. Anytime we went 1-0 down, don't worry. You know what I mean? Straight away, within 15 minutes, we get a goal back. Next minute, we're going to win the game. So it's frustrating. I just wanted, because I also believe, honestly, just to go back on that and this point, and I argue a lot, you know, on my channel and on Twitter spaces as well. I say it, when you're a new coach or a new manager, and especially you've got a distinct style of play, you need time in a training ground. You need to be able to drill
Look
those
at Arteta
patterns.
with no Europe.
Exactly. Look at Desebri. He comes in, he builds on what Graham Potter done, and look what he's done for them. You look what he's done for them in terms of how intensity, the way they play, how everybody knows on that football pitch. And it don't matter who comes on. I don't even know half of their names, some of these guys who's coming on.
But they know them after we played us. They always turn up, don't they?
Well, you know what? Listen, one of the things that my uncle, rest in peace, my uncle, like, he always said to me, one of the things about Manchester United is that everybody knows when Manchester United are in town, everybody's levels goes up. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't survive without us, would there? No one would be able. The league wouldn't survive without United.
This is it. So, to me, the time on the training ground would have been far more sufficient, I think, as the first season. But I understand he wants to set the standards, and he also wants to test players. You know what I mean? To say, are you with me? Because this is what it's going to be like. I'm going to be pushing you. I'm pushing you. So, yeah, it's just, at this moment in time, honestly, I warned about this. I've been moaning about this, saying that the collapse could come. Because if you watch football, you understand. Like, for years, I've been watching. Not that we've got this telescope in looking into the future, but you know that when you've played majority of the season with 14 players.
Oh, just touch on that. A great super chat from Mario Franco says, we've competed for everything with literally 13/15 players. That's remarkable in Erik ten Hag's first season coming from the Eredivisie. We should all back this man. That's pretty much what you just said. One more before I get your opinion on that one. Stephen Rossi says, it seems an element of the opposition to Qatar ownership involves not wanting non-white owners, even if no one ever admits it. There's always them angles, and there always will be them angles in anything.
You see it in the British media, innit? It's so blatant, they can't even hide it. Well, they can't hide it, mate. They can't hide it. And all of the PR stuff and spin. Like, no way, mate. We're not accepting more debt. We're not accepting Glazers ever staying at this football club. Get that into your head. And you call yourself a United fan.
That's it. I mean, on that there, you were saying it then. 14 players. Listen. 13, 15 players, like the Super Chat said. It's basically what we've had to deal with all season.
And the World Cup, and the amount of games. And like you said, it's having a knock-on effect. This season is having a knock-on effect. Because when have you ever played like FA Cup in June? You know what I mean? And then so how long are the players going to have? From that 3rd of June till the 18th, they fly. So they come back a couple of days before they fly. So that means they come back a week. So they're going to have, 3.5 weeks off? If that.
Yeah, so we finish in June.
Well,
June 3rd. And then we've got the international, 2 games. Yeah. Is it North Macedonia and someone else for England? I can't remember which one it was. So there's another couple of weeks.
That takes us to mid-June.
Mid-July is when
they come back.
We're flying out to the bleeding States.
So 4 weeks.
of July.
So give or take 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Anyone who's looking for rehab or looking to try and get full recovery from any sort of injury or have that time off, they're going away where they can't be looked after. This is, like we said, this is everything that we've had to deal with this summer and what Ten Hag has had to deal with. Some fans in the crowd at weekend were questioning him a bit more. Well, in the heat of the moment, you're sort of just lashing out at anyone. But like you said you sometimes question his substitutions and why. It's not what you just described there in terms of no one being fit and the game plan not being implemented in certain players' heads because they've not been available for every training session? Is this an issue why he can't trust certain players coming on? And why he has to rest certain players? It's like Eriksen not coming on against Brighton. And then he comes on and it looks like he should have had another game off against West Ham because he was poor.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me, what I've noticed, like from Erik ten Hag, is that the elements to play in the way that he wants to play football is that you have to have intensity. You have to play with intensity. You have to aggression. There has to be a certain level of like winning your one-to-one duels. You have to be able to control the ball and the passing and the different, like the fullbacks going into the central areas. And then it's about when we create those chances, can we take those chances? And we've not been able to take it. But the others, like the intensity and the aggression and the winning the one-on-one duels, you have to be fit mentally and physically. Like you have to have the energy, mate. And they don't have the energy. They've gassed out. They've literally gassed out. So when I look at it, I think we had criticism. We called them bottlers. We called them all these things. But that's just the instant reaction. When you look on it, you can understand and see where the season has gone. Where was it? I think it was February when we were peaked. I think it was February when we peaked. And then it's the elephant in the room, but Martinez dictated from deep the way we played football. He dictates the way how many passes is he sipped into midfield onto the last third?
From the final man, mate.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Because he's so good on the ball. And Luke Shaw and Lindelof, they've done fantastic because with having Varane and Martinez out, we thought, oh, the wheels will come off here, right?
Just
this
about
is it, right?
on now.
So those two have defended well, but has Luke Shaw been as effective or even anywhere close to being 10 or 15% close to being Martinez? No, he hasn't. Martinez dictated the way we played at the back, especially finding the likes of Eriksen and Bruno and like Rashford even, you know what I mean, or Anthony switching the play, like just giving us a variation in our play. And he's so good on the ball, so comfortable in every position. And that's what we miss, and that is a huge miss for this. And then in the same press conference I was talking about, the embargo before Brighton, they asked him the question, like, is there any chance you could come back? No, he's out for it, he's gone.
There you go. This brings us on to the next bit. If that ownership model is in, transfer budget will be set. Transfer targets have to be identified already at this point, I would have hoped.
You would hope.
The problem was quite clear, and it has been quite clear. The table doesn't lie. We're in a good position, but we're not scoring enough goals. Losing Ronaldo, losing Mason Greenwood like we did, you're obviously going to have to find another way of getting goals. Marcus Rashford has had a bumper season, and credit to him, but we've missed that number 9. Osimhen has been reported again. The Mail on Sport, I've been talking £130 million target, price tag has been put on his head, and Manchester United fans are looking at it going, how much money have we got to spend this summer? So that, I'm going to pose the question to the chat as well in the poll, because Mark was talking about this earlier on. He was talking about spreading the money out over the window and getting a few players in. I was more of get the best in class, even if it's just 2 people for 2 key positions we need starters. So would you spend it on 3 or 4 players, or would you get it on 2 best in class? If that's all it took, that's the poll going up now. Spend the money on the best in class, maybe 2 signings, or spread that money out and get 3 or 4. Bearing in mind, I'm just going to put this into your head, Fred was classed as a 3 or 4, so was Alex Telles, so was Eric Bayer. These are the sort of 3 and 4 players that we've had in the past when we've had transfer windows. Are we better going for the best in class and spending our budget on 2 players, 2 key players? That's what I want to know. That poll is up now. Where are you at with that, Nuruddin? What would you do?
I would, because I think we need the quality. We need players to go straight into the first team, right? But I think then I would spend a lot of time. This is, by the way, post-Glazer world. This is the football club going back
let's talk that. Let's cheer ourselves up and talk like that for a bit.
We're talking about, this is Glazer's gone, right? And then we look at, because we don't really sell under Glazer, because Glazonomics says you can't really sell, because they see the player as a loss if the player goes. Because the players they don't look at the player as a footballer, they look at the spreadsheet, what it means to them on the spreadsheet. And then that's a loss to the company, to the PLC, whatever, right? So when you look at that, I think, then get rid of and see how much money you can raise, getting rid of 6 or 7.
Yeah, you got to.
Right, get the 2, go and get the 2, get them joining in pre-season, then get rid of 6 or 7, right? See how much money you can accrue from dot sales, and then go out and buy I think we're going to need maybe another four players. Yeah, that's how I feel. And I think, obviously, it's his first season. I think Ahmad coming back, he has to look at Ahmad. Big up to Ahmad, having a wonderful season with Sunderland.
Just that Alvaro get young player of the year at Preston.
Exactly, Preston. So we're looking at these players, and some point, if I'm not mistaken, is he played in midfield at times for Preston this season?
He's mixed up. He's predominantly left back. Predominantly left back, but it's been mixed up. I've not watched too much of it, but all I know is that he has had a very good season.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at those players, and then those players being on the bench next season to come on and start games. But yeah, I agree. Get 2 world beaters. Get really, really quality, because we lack serious quality. And the 2 positions that I'm thinking about is some centre midfield and a striker. But you know what I would want? I want, if you're going to get Harry Kane or going to get someone like that, I want a younger striker. I want Manchester United going back to having 2-3 strikers. I want 2 strikers on the bench. Game needs to change. Bring on goals, win football games. And also improving the quality in the midfield.
Yeah, they're my 2 areas. If I was going to spend our whole budget on 2, it would be centre mid, centre forward. Shout out to Jaden Kendall, your first super chat on the United stand. I'm very excited to be going to my first game versus Arsenal at the MetLife Stadium on the 22nd of July. I am from the United States, so it's a dream come true. Absolutely big up to you, mate. Enjoy the day. Hopefully we'll see you there as well. The United stand will be covering the tour, so if anyone is out there, do come and say hello. We will be out and about everywhere. Sorry about the price. You have to probably pay for that ticket as well, Jaden. I know they were quite extortionate, and the tour is going to make a lot of money. Who's it making money for, though? There you go. But football, I keep swaying across to the actual ownership model. It just takes over everything. But football, that striker, the best in class. You're talking about getting rid of players there. Osimhen, would that be a type of player for you? And I just want to get your opinion, secondly, on top of that, about what Wout Weghorst was saying this morning about his role at the football club. Very bullish about how the club view him and his role and how valued he is.
Yeah.
Is there any future for him? And in terms of striker, you've not liked Harry Kane as much. I know you would take Kane, but you want a younger striker.
Yeah, I will only
take... Is Osimhen that type of man for you? Is that who you'd go for?
I will only take Kane if another younger striker is there. That's
okay.
That's all. That's the only way I'm taking Harry Kane. If a younger striker is there with him, alongside him. In terms of what Weghorst, you know what? I think in the first 10, 15 games, he was a pressure. He was a breath of fresh air. Yeah, breath of fresh air. There's the word, right? He was a grafter. He gave us the intensity. I look at that game, Barcelona away in the Europa League, and I despise that. You know, he put himself about, I think, and then I think he gassed out because he's never played this amount of games at this high level and this intensity. He's never played that, mate. So he is like everybody else. He's falling off. And we look at him now, and I look at him most games when he's on the pitch, I think, the game's too fast for you. The game's too fast for you. There's a reason why you were in Turkey. There's a reason why Burnley signed you. And I'm sorry, but if Manchester United have tried to get back to where we belong, it's thank you so much. You know what I mean? He will always be welcome back at the club. You know what I mean? He would always get an ovation from me. And I've ever bumped into him in Manchester, I would always be grateful for him coming in and helping us in that tricky situation in the season. But I just can't see it. I can't see it. Unless, okay, if we get 2 strikers and he's the 3rd one, then yeah, you know what I mean? I won't mind that. If there's something about him that he's so good for a dressing room, he's good to be around, he is the consummate professional, you know, an example to young players, I wouldn't mind that. But we need quality. We need quality. And I'm afraid to say, he's a nice guy, he tries, he sees celebrations at Wembley. You saw it both times we've been there. How feel he leads. And in every club he's been, to be fair, he's not faking it. He's just one of those players that he becomes connected to the fan base. But the quality, at the end of the day, football is about the quality. And he doesn't have that quality that we need right now.
That's it. Weghorst, we need someone to cut the oranges at half-time. Super chat from Christopher. Harsh, because I think he was going off Mark's train this morning from, what did Mark say? He was doing the sweeping the car park or something like that. It's a bit harsh. Callum Collins says, I'm worried about City ×3. Hopefully I'm wrong. If that Vegas came off the bench and scored a winner in the final, would you let him stay for another year?
I think I'll get a statue. I think we'll be starting the Trafford Council to get that statue of him. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'll be starting that petition, mate, to get a statue of him. If he does that in the FA Cup final, last minute, bang, see you later. That would be incredible, mate. That honestly, a statue. I'm saying it now. I'll start the petition for a statue for him. Tonight, every Man United fan is Ala Madrid. That's all I'm saying. Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid, yes, please. If they can't do it, it is all down to us because title's in the bag for me.
We've done it before.
We have. We stopped Liverpool doing it. We've got to stop our next rivals doing it now.
Hold tight, Lou Macari.
Oh, yeah. I mean, talking about players there and how much we could raise or how we could save money. We were talking off camera, and it has been a high topic, obviously. David De Gea and his mistake again at weekends. We're all frustrated. We can see the players being frustrated. You're there and you're working hard, like you said. Everything, you're trying everything, and then it all gets undone with a simple error. A few big games we've done that recently. Not just De Gea, but obviously the topic is De Gea right now. His contract is up. Are you signing him, Nuruddin? Is he signing that deal? And is he going to accept being a number 2 if someone else comes in, if he does stay? Because you have to be realistic. On top of that, what do you think of Pep Guardiola's comments about saying Ten Hag has to make that big decision and make them hard decisions in the summer? You know where he's going. He did it with that City goalkeeper and backline with Joe Hart and all them favourites.
Exactly.
With the City fans, them favourites.
Yeah.
This is very similar with David Gea, but even worse, I would say.
So looking at long term, and I remember having the discussions in last summer and saying about David De Gea, because we already knew, if you know anything about Erik ten Hag, he needs a goalkeeper that can play the modern way to be able to play. He has to be comfortable with his own feet. But the biggest thing about David De Gea for me, he's not being like that good of his line. He stays on his line. He's not dominant. He's somebody you can bully. Like, I remember him when he first came at him going in that stadium, and he was this thin and he was getting bullied, but he learned to toughen up. Fergie leaves and then he goes reverse back to how he was getting bullied. And like I said to people, I've said it on camera many times, I was done with him during Billy Sharp, Sheffield United bullying him during the lockdown. That's when I was like, and I used to be a David De Gea stan, because I remember under Moyes, under Van Gaal, you know, all those games at home where he will pull out amazing saves. So for me, I just think we need a fresh start in that position. We need a fresh start. Football has moved on. Football has changed now, right? And we need a modern goalkeeper. From the sales, I would bring in a goalkeeper. I like the guy at AC Milan. I do like the guy at Porto. No, is it Porto? Yeah, is it at Porto? Is it Yeah, I like that goalkeeper and that guy at AC Milan as well. So they call him what? They call him Magic Mike. I think that's what they call him at AC Milan. Yeah. But at the end, I just want a dominant goalkeeper that's really comfortable with his feet. And of course, goalkeepers can make mistakes. We've all played football Saturday, Sunday. We've played. When a goalkeeper throws one in, it is it's a howler. But I'm sorry, it's not like he threw in a howler in the last minute. He threw in a howler like with nearly 60 minutes to go or 70 minutes to go in the game. And what's the team's reaction? Because he bails them out sometimes. Goalkeepers will bail you out. You have to bail him out. Yeah. And we've not managed to do that. So I just think I need a fresh start. But I'm hoping all of this, Adam, is dictated, I'm sorry to bring it back to this, by a new ownership. All of this is dictated.
No matter what subject you go down, it always comes back to this. Because
how your club is run. And because the Glazers are not willing to let De Gea go, because they're already negotiating with him to take a pay cut. He's the highest paid goalkeeper in world football ever.
Oh, God, that's scary when you say that. Super chat's in from Phenom says, get Kane to around Caicedo and Tillemans. Another super chat.
Tillemans?
From Duncania says, fine, sell De Gea, but those killing him over West Ham forget his 4-game winning saves versus them this season at Old Trafford and the FA Cup, plus Noble's pen save last season. You can think nostalgia-wise, nostalgia gets you absolutely nowhere in modern-day football, I'm afraid. I mean, people are going on about Scott McTominay. We can get a better class midfielder than Scott McTominay. Can we get a better keeper than David De Gea?
Facts.
Of course you can. There's a few players in this United team that we can get better players for.
Loads. Come on now, in the squad.
I mean,
a lot of
every
players.
player's time comes to an end at a football club. You have to accept
I will
that.
always respect David De Gea as a legend, as a Premier League winner, as a FA Cup winner, as a Europe. You know what I mean? He's won all of the domestic. The only thing he's not won is a Champions League at Manchester United.
Yeah.
He's got every trophy. So I would always be grateful all of those seasons, of the 4th season where he was the player of the season. So we would always remember David De Gea. We would have a special place in our hearts for David De Gea. But I just need a new goalkeeper that can play the modern way and somebody who's dominant. And somebody, Adam, that when it comes to penalty shootout, I can be confident and certain that they might get near one. They might get near a penalty. And they might get near a shot, but in the penalty shootout, they might be able to save one or intimidate somebody or have a bit of shithousery.
My concern with David De Gea is, and everyone talks about that, the toughness factor. Sir Alex built him up. He was battered and bruised and knocked around a bit in his first season, but what he also was very good at was with his feet. I remember his debut at Old Trafford. First game of the season, we beat West Brom 2-1. He dropped a clanger. Well, did pretty much what he did against West Ham at weekend, funnily enough. Second game, I seen this man do a Cruyff turn on Rafael van der Vaart in his box and walk away with the ball and then launch it to someone else's feet. Gary Neville on commentary talking about this is why they brought this goalkeeper in. This is why they brought him in, because he can do this, he can pass. He's now one of the outfield players. I know what David De Gea had. My problem is he's lost it. And when you do start to lose it and your confidence is gone, how does that come back? It doesn't come back. It's once bitten, twice shy. Yeah. That's basically what it is.
I mean, he did it under Louis van Gaal. Remember Louis van Gaal? Like, they were playing it out. Like, he was comfortable.
Oh, mate, our possession stats under Van Gaal, even though the football was absolute dross, the possession stats were off the scale. I've never seen so many sideways passes between a back four and a keeper.
And he was very comfortable playing out from the back. But I just think he referred. Did you remember something happened between him and his goalkeeping coach and the club deciding?
Yes,
and then his form dipped. He went into that World Cup. Like I said, I was still defending him when he went to that World Cup and threw in a couple of clangers as well. I was still defending him. But I'm just like, you know what, David? I've defended you enough. I think majority of our fans, you know, we always sing. It's one of my favourite songs to sing. Everywhere you go, take the Gay with you. You know, that's one of my favourite songs to sing. So, David, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your service. We need a modern goalkeeper, somebody who's dominant. I want somebody, honestly, Adam, I'm not like I want somebody to come out, throw people around and give away a penalty, then save it. That's what I want. I want somebody aggressive. I need somebody who's aggressive, who's intimidating in between the sticks. That's what I need.
Other players not performing, mate. We talked about the forward line. Think we could get money for Anthony Martial? Is his time up now?
Yeah. I mean, I was the chairman, the CEO of Martial FC, and I'm sorry, I see him now ducking out of challenges because he doesn't want to get hurt and get injured.
That's a worrying sign.
I can't have that. I can't have footballers playing for Manchester United doing that. I just can't have it, mate. I cannot have somebody ducking out, and obviously technically incredibly gifted, technically brilliantly gifted. The injuries for me, I think they've had a word like. That they've played on him. I don't know how much he's fit because we're not in the physio room. We're not in Ten Hag. So is he coming on and playing? Because Ten Hag always speaks highly of him. Ten Hag loves him. We saw it in the pre-season, the way he plays. But recently, he can't even do the basics. Like, he used to be, get the ball to feet, hold it up, you know what I mean, turn, you know, and now he's turning like Maguire.
That's...
Honestly, I saw that, and you know what, I had to rub my eyes and go, Martial, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? One of the things that you could receive it on the back foot, take it on the front foot, turn, get that passing going. We saw it against Man City, you know what I mean, in some of the games coming against Liverpool. But the form recently, it's just been like, and I'm like, he's not tired, he's not fatigued, because he's hardly played. So, you know what, I know a lot of United fans love him, but I'm sorry, we cannot be nostalgic. I'm about what you're doing for me on the pitch right now, in the critical moments, what you are doing for me. What you are doing for me. So, you know, if this is new ownership, it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been a pleasure. But then some people will say, oh, look at Luke Shaw. You know what I mean? Luke Shaw plays for a contract and then he gets it, doesn't he? And he's here for 8 years or whatever. But I just look at Martial, I think the talent is there. But what I've seen in the last 3 to 4 games is worrying.
It's very
and then I'm sorry, Adam, but if you're being picked, if Workhorse is picked over you, I need to start looking at another. Forget about anybody else telling me to go. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, that's it. With everything that you just said, mate, would we be able to sell him?
I think we could get decent money for him, yeah. I think we could. I mean, not under the Glazer ownership, though. Not under the Glazer ownership.
No, that's one thing we
under
have to
somebody
struggle
else, yeah. Even if it means he goes next January, you know what I mean? He goes in January. You know, I think we've got to get rid of a lot of players. Tellez, Bailly, Fred, McTominay, Maguire. You know what I mean? Obviously, Tuancebi's contract has come to an end. Jones's contract has come to an end. That's 7 players who might be leaving. So for me, he'd be up there. He might be on that list that goes in January.
Can we afford to sell Martial? Is a poll up now, sell Martial, yes or no? Can we afford to sell him with what you just said then, and us not being able to bring any other strikers in? We're about to lose another one. With the thought of only bringing one more in? No,
listen. That's what I was saying to you, Adam. I want 2 strikers through that door before you get rid of anybody else, mate. That's who I want. But then, to be fair...
You actually act like a normal football club that's run properly. Now you're asking, mate, come on. But I understand that. It's like, put your safety blanket in place, then go and do your business.
Like I said, he can be good, because I think we need to get rid of a lot more players. But at the end of the day, I look at it, I think it's nobody's fault that why certain players get injured. But the future's not looking bright either with him, because of the amount of injuries he's had this season, and how many different injuries he's had this season. How many different injuries he's had. So it's like I'm to let go. At the end of the day, I support Manchester United. I don't support Player FC, mate. And time for nostalgia. I just want a new start. So that means everybody gets cleared out. So be it, mate. I just want people who come on blood, sweat and tears, and people who are not ducking out. That is the biggest thing. Losing, listen, honestly, where I get so angry, when you're watching a game in the stadium or you're watching it on TV and you see players not going in 50-50s, ducking out, thinking they're going to get hurt. I'm sorry.
There is a zombie with a super chat says, I know he is young, but look at our youth and bring Charlie McNeil. Charlie McNeil is not ready, mate. He's nowhere near ready. I've watched him all season. He's gone out on loan, which is the best thing. He isn't ready to step into the first team yet. He needs more developments. I think even he will say that to you. He's not there. Cheers for the super chat again, mate. I'm just going to roll off a list of players before we finish, and you just say, answer me yes or no, Nuruddin. And the same in the chat. Scott McTominay, will we miss him if he's gone?
No.
Put McTominay in the chat, and then yes or no, people. Answer the questions. What loyalty should we have to this bunch? Really enjoy writing, says loyalty. No, meh. No. Next player, obviously going to bring up Martial. We're just talking about him. Will we miss Martial? Has he done enough to impact this season?
No.
Nope. Martial is just going to get injured again. People are saying the same thing.
I love the technique. I love the intelligence of the player, but I'm sorry. No. And I used to get even frustrated with Louis Saha. And we had, Rooney and all these other amazing strikers at that time. And I used to get frustrated because he was quality as well. It's just your body. At the age of 27, if you don't, listen, you're a multi-millionaire. What I would be doing is that I'd be looking at my body, looking at the way I eat, looking at what I'm allergic to, what it could be. Look, when Lukaku left to go to Italy, they did these tests on him and he had this allergy stuff. And then look, he then became, so I would be looking at how I can be fit for the Wednesday, Saturday, the Sunday. That's what it becomes about your personal responsibility to make sure that you are out there on the pitch. And I'm sorry, if he was 22-year-old, I'd be like, you know what? Give him a chance. Maybe these injuries, because we've seen a lot of players who were injured when they were younger. But when you come to reach towards the end of your career, and what would really be hurtful is that we sell him, he goes to another club, and then he's in the peak of his form, 28, 29, where the strikers really peak, don't they? And then he'll be banging it in, and that would just be like, what happens to Man United? It'd be like sots already.
That's it. Fair point. We'll do more than our strikers right now. Another super chat from there's a zombie. Cheers for that, mate. I've got a few more players, quite a list, but we've run out of time. Guys, absolutely brilliant.
Fred, no.
Yeah.
Maguire, no.
No, Maguire, you're talking to hell. There's loads of them. But guys, that is it. Time is up. We've been going for an hour. Cheers for tuning in to Adam Talks. Nuruddin, absolute pleasure having you on as always.
we're happy to chop it up with you anytime, mate. But fingers crossed, pray, hope and pray, new owners, proper investment.
We will be back earlier than scheduled tonight as well, because Mark is watching the Real Madrid and City game. Ala Madrid, like Nuruddin says, for all Manchester United fans, do join Mark for that one on That's Football as well. We will be back, I think, at 7 o'clock tonight, a bit earlier than scheduled, so we can cover that game as well. Cheers for watching. All super chats, all your comments, absolutely on point. Give the video a like on the way out, people. Your input has been immense as always. We will see you later. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.